to Creative Chronicles, produced by Mediterranean Fire here on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. I'm your host, Biba Sheik, and we have the great honor of a return guest with us today, the artist Colibri from Detroit, a healer and artist, and we're looking forward to unfolding and rolling out a beautiful conversation with her, and we'll see what she's been up to since the last time we spoke with her. Calibri, thank you so much for taking time out of your, I imagine, very busy schedule to join us this evening. You look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me back. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Um, so I thought that we could turn it into a little game. Since I'm a theater director, I sometimes I can propose a game sometimes, and it might work out, it might not work out, but we'll adjust it so that we get it to work out. So if we have to change the rules in the middle of the game, we're allowed to do that. You equally as myself. So it's just a light game, but I thought instead of like we did the last time, talking so subjectively about the relation between healing and art, I could just simply say a kind of phrase that's kind of related to both healing and art that sometimes is abstract even, but that you could then kind of, even if you want to like shut your eyes or look within yourself, to paint us a picture, like see the painting of it in your mind's eye, a painting by Colibri, of course, and tell us what this painting looks like, and what is on the canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the audience about the sentences that I have in mind, and we'll start from there. I'm gonna start off with Colibri, with a spiritual journeys to take through art, and ask her what she sees in her mind's eye and what the painting is. Colibri, are you there? Can you hear me? You can hear me, and we can't hear you. So the next one that I'm going to ask Colibri, I'm going to give you the whole list. It is the light dancers, then between sleep and wake, the point zero, no myth, no emotion, embody the spirit of an animal. I like that one the best. So you can choose any one you want. I'm just going to read off the list. Sleep with an eye to the sky, talk to the sea, hug a tree. And then I like this one too. My soul mummied in spirit inside of my flesh. Stare at a fixed point. I like this one. Pleasure strings. And then this one, which is try to remember what you were doing last year exactly on this day. So, Calibri, I think we're going to take some time with the audience, right? Because I think, will you be able to talk to us this very second, or we have to wait a bit, right? Yes. So here we are. So, what I think I would like to do right now is to take each one of these phrases until Colibri comes back with us, and 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 with the audience and myself devise a kind of a visualization game that goes with it. So if we say a spiritual journey to take through art, imagine this journey, and it's the journey that you love. You can choose the journey that you want. So it's really happening within you, I guess, and it could be happening outside of you as well, because I mean, a, someone might think that a spiritual journey to take through art could be like also taking paint and like splashing it on someone's door, you know. So, like, this reminds me of Roger Hallam, the founder of the movement Extinction Rebellion, and he's a climate change activist, and he would take uh, pink paint, and he would just go to the corporations or even other activist groups that were not engaging themselves in helping now in this urgency towards climate change. And his whole activist movement would be taking the pink paint and throwing it, splashing it on the entrance of the building, of the door. And I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, because I know he said that when he did that, his legs were actually trembling. Or the first time he went out in the street with a sign, a huge sign to the public to try to get people to become more aware of, the situation of climate change. He said he was just trembling. He thought his legs were going to break. He was so scared, but he did it and he overcame his fear. And I mean, now a few years later, the man is doing hunger strikes, you know. So, what would your spiritual journey be to take through art? How do you imagine it to be? And if there's anybody out there who is inspired enough, just write us a few sentences. I mean, if you just stop and just improvise, or just let any imagination, anything roll out of you. What would that spiritual journey through art be? Even if you don't do art, how would you imagine it? If art was a spiritual journey, how would it be for you? Only for you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. You have to play this game, everybody. It is now the light dancers. When I say the light dancers, what does it mean for you? Only for you. What could it mean? Just you must know. I just say the phrase and you will know immediately what it means for you. The thing is, nobody really ever talks to you about this probably, but just try to do it now. Like one of Colibri in her company that's called Danah Arts. She takes people on spiritual journeys through art, and I've seen a lot of what she does, and you can see it also and become acquainted with it on Danah Arts. Let me get the exact site. It's danaharts.wordpress.com. And what inspired me to put this game together was actually her website. Like there's one section in the website that is called Mona Lisa, and it says Mona Lisa is a faith-based I can't pronounce the word camaraderie workshop that teaches guests how to self-evaluate through the use of portraits. Guests are instructed on painting self portraits and encouraged to address issues within themselves using self expression techniques and questions. And it is designed to address self esteem and perceived flaws. Yes, Calibri.
Yes.
And so I want to get you back on the game for a second. All right. So I had which one do you want to do? Did you catch any of those phrases while we were separated for a moment?
Yes, there were a couple I could hear. I liked the light dancer. I think that stood with me first, and then there was another one. But I do like
Yeah.
the light
Okay. So do you want to give us do you want to make a painting of the light dancer?
imagery, sure.
Yeah.
So, what I would picture is a group of people. I would, I guess, doing. I picture a group of people out in the open, in nature, barefoot, but with clothes on, each wearing something colorful. I picture African American people and people of color because it stands out up against the blue skies and the green grass and then their colorful clothes.
Mhm.
I picture the sun, I picture the sky, and I picture their arms waving towards the sky
Mhm.
and lights illuminating through them. So
Uh-huh.
vivid color, vivid movement. Play.
Beautiful. Thank you. I think we all saw a painting there as you described it to us. By the way, I think today maybe this was also inspired not only by your website, and I reviewed again our initial conversation, which actually I loved so much. It was such a beautiful conversation that people can find it on YouTube and on Facebook for WJZZ Cool TV. But also today, I thought about what is it that I thought about today, Biba? Let me see. What was it? Yes, the light dancers. The light dancers was a phrase that I initially found to describe a moment that I was completely in the moment, like 1,000,000% in the moment, as much as I could be at the moment, because that was my intention. so, um, and so I was in Beirut. I was younger I think I was in my 20s or early
Okay.
30s, and it was like right after the war. So it was kind of dangerous. And I went there as a girl, not knowing how women live there. Like, am I going to be the only woman by myself? Are they allowed to sit in a cafe? Like, what's going on? So anyway, I was in my room that was a dorm. I was staying at the university because it was the safest place to stay. And I was totally in the moment, and I would just, everything that was happening in that very second, in the millisecond, I knew was never going to happen again, that all of these elements in that moment. And it was really just the lights of the passing cars on the wall, and just the time expressing itself in that moment. The light was doing a dance, and I could see this choreography of the moment. And I think I probably thought about how can I capture this or cap this moment. And because I was much younger then, it was before cell phones. But I think I tried with my camera or something, and I thought I was taking photos of it, and I was like, take. And then when I got the photos back, they were like just a bland room. But anyway, okay, so maybe I'm rambling, but we can move on
No,
to the next
but
one.
it's perfect. I can picture it in my head. It's inspiring a painting. So I
Great. Wonderful. And
would
let me just do the station ID, and we'll try to like get the game moving. And maybe someone from the audience can also call in and play the game. Because if you call in and play the game, I'm going to send you a mug, a Mediterranean Fire a mug, and maybe also a WJZZ Cool TV mug. Maybe, I don't know, but we'll see. Okay, so you are watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. No censorship, by the way. And you can catch us live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching WJZZ Cool TV. I'm your host, Biba Sheik, on A Creative Chronicles, produced by Mediterranean Fire. And thank you so much again for watching. Our special guest is the historical Detroit artist Colibri, and she is a healer and an artist, and we're playing a game right now. So I'm going to say a sentence. Sometimes they don't make sense, sometimes they do. And she's going to paint us a picture from what vision she gets. Inner painting is going to be painted with words for us. And I'm going to shut up. Okay, let me see. Um, okay, my soul mummied in spirit inside of my flesh.
Hmm. My soul mummied in spirit inside of my flesh. Um, so what I picture is darkness. I picture a beautiful surface, um, a beautiful woman, but I picture a dark core. So half woman and half I can't speak composition, but I picture a beautiful woman, and through her eyes, you see a dark core. Um, but also seeing within that dark core, that shell, basically showing that she's sort of plastic, hardened, and you see a warm soul inside of her, so a warmer figure,
Mhm.
a more luminous figure in person, and a more beautiful soul, kind of um, ambiguous to male or female, and yeah,
What kind of
how
color is the background she's in? Out of
the,
curiosity.
the backward red,
Red.
red
That's
into the
beautiful.
so.
Okay. Okay, let's get the next one. Um, Let me see. Here we go. Embody the spirit of an animal.
Embody the spirit of an animal.
And you two in the audience, you should be doing this also. And write us a comment, call us in, and we'd love to connect with you. Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Calibri.
I picture a man. I picture a man in kingly robes, but I picture him kneeling down,
Mm-hmm.
as if to bow.
Mm-hmm.
But his crown is made like bull's horns, like the horns of a bull,
Mm-hmm.
and he's big like the bull. But I picture his facial structure and bone structure coming down like a bull, dance almost like a bull.
Mm-hmm.
But so like I said, humble in the kneeling and bowing pose.
Mm-hmm.
What
Beautiful.
comes?
Uh-huh. Um, okay. I'm like, I just for a second tried to envision the other characters, or I call them characters, the other paintings that you did, and like tried to put them together all as one painting.
Oh,
Okay, pleasure strings.
oh goodness. I don't think I can say what I think.
Yes, you can, but that's you can, you know? I mean, come on, you can. Of course you can. Do it, Colibri, come
You know
on.
what? What I can do is I have a piece that's similar
Uh,
to I guess what I think, and my father actually has it. Only because it's one of those innuendo type pieces, and he
mhm,
likes to show people that. But it is of a waterfall going down into a stream.
uh-huh.
There are mountains, so there's a landscape, and
Mhm,
in the background there's sky, there's birds, far off, and
mhm,
there are big mountains that look like breasts. And as you come toward the foreground, there is a stream that comes through the mountains, but you can't really see it until it comes up to the foreground, and then it comes over and drops down into a waterfall.
mhm,
And what you're looking at in the foreground is basically a river coming towards you,
mhm,
going in the entrance of a cave. So the stream is dropping down over a cave,
uh-huh.
and on either side of it are walls, basically rocky walls. So it's basically a woman with her legs spread, and
Uh-huh.
moisture coming through.
Yes,
So
yes, 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 yes.
very random and very
Beautiful.
graphic, but innuendo. But that's what I think of when I think of number one, love to me flows and is fluid, and that's not just sexually, but period.
I was gonna,
So
yeah, I
don't
was. ask you how do your love relationships influence your artworks?
Well, I can't really say. I'm just starting to allow myself to allow love to influence my artwork.
Isn't that
Before
strange? You know,
it
because
it is.
yes,
Before I was married and I didn't have a husband who was supportive of my art.
mm-hmm,
So I didn't really marry the two. I painted portraits of people, or I would paint children. I would paint a
hmm,
lot of different. Love didn't directly influence my art, probably because I didn't feel in love.
yes,
So now, as a single woman,
mm-hmm,
I've dated and I have experienced other situations, but I have allowed myself to. First, I had someone that I stopped dating, and it hurt. And that was the first time I allowed myself to really paint it out.
hmm,
And what I notice is when I paint relating to love, it's not as strategic or as orderly. It really does flow when I allow it to flow out of me. And
yeah,
what I focus on is the intimacy aspect of it, not just sex, but it can be whole. It can be embraces,
mm-hmm,
kissing,
mm-hmm,
the parts of love that I believe are beautiful, but we don't emphasize as a society.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Um, I when I was preparing, this show, I with this question, I imagined what my answer would be, and
Hmm.
it was not, I can't say that it was similar to yours, but I realized also that in the output of my work also it's not present there. Those love relationships are not present in that sense as you know and sometimes you hear a song, and it's directly going
Hmm.
into that, so yeah, I'm curious about that. That's really interesting. Okay, now let me see. Now you mentioned your father too. So how is your relationship with your father, or does he like your artwork, or who's your father? Who
Does.
who gave like life to this brilliant artist here? Like,
Well, I think I'm influenced by both. My father is well, he's always loved cooking.
mhm.
I have two parents that are just creative in different ways. So my father was more of a businessman type. So
Mhm.
he didn't
I'm sorry, I couldn't repeat.
understand. So he
Mhm.
sold cars and stuff like that, but he never really got into being a chef. He always wanted to be a chef. So I grew
Mhm.
up tasting a lot of
Really?
different foods. We had octopus and stuff like that when I was a little kid. We eat a little bit of everything.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
But
That's
my
beautiful.
mother was always crafty. She won't say that she's an artist, but the creative side really came from her. So neither with both
Mhm.
of them really did allow me to express myself. And they're both
Mhm.
proud of me. My father though was really the one that pushed me with art, even
Oh.
things I would shy away from. Like I said, with that ordinarily wouldn't even be a painting that I would show him. But he was more
Mhm.
proud of the fact that it was innuendo and being able to show other people. This is what my daughter does. He has a bunch of my artworks. So
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. How about sleep with an eye to the sky?
Sleep with an eye to the sky. Hmm. Uh, what I picture is a child. Um, I picture a child laying in the grass, um, cloud watching. I
Mhm.
picture them, I picture the clouds in shapes of animals
Mhm.
and in shapes of dinosaurs, and shapes of planes, and shapes of doctors, stethoscopes. Uh,
Mhm. Oh.
And what the image is of them ultimately daydreaming.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Beautiful. And what music would be in the background of that?
I hear Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys.
Okay. Yes. And okay, so I want to go back to your website. What so what has been happening with Danah Arts since the last time we greeted you here? What's your how are people using art with you in order to transgress from stress or maybe even depression into a more liberated state of expression and relief?
Well, unfortunately, with the pandemic, we haven't been able to do as many workshops. And what I've been doing is revamping it, even the website. We were talking today on how to change it around and restructure.
Hmm.
Um, but our next agenda is makeup tutorials.
Okay.
um,
I should
it
take
sounds it sounds shallow, but these types of workshops are needed. What I
that.
notice, especially with women, because I usually cater more with women and children
Hmm.
or people with mental disabilities.
Hmm.
So with women, we are the ones that take care of ourselves the least. And traditional therapy doesn't always, I don't want to say it always works, but a lot of people don't always seek traditional therapy or
Hmm.
know that they're stressed enough to seek therapy. They feel like something needs to be wrong with them.
Hmm.
And especially with women, they don't feel beautiful. A lot of times you get to a certain age, you don't feel beautiful, or you have children for whatever reasons. A lot of us have certain insecurities that we really shouldn't have.
Yes.
Um, you don't really know the way or aren't as confident as even expressing that you feel that type of way about yourself. So what I have is people come to me privately, like, you know,
Hmm.
can I get this or can I get this to do it? And I consider that still an art form. It's still a way to express yourself.
Hmm.
So our latest thing has been the makeup tutorials. I've been doing them privately, but we want to do larger groups. I
Hmm.
feel like it helps when you are amongst other women sharing the same stories.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we're
And
teaching
so it really
lipstick.
brightens up a woman and kind of lets them shed the skins of the past and create a new image of themselves. You think?
Not just a new image of themselves, because you don't have to be completely made up, but more so finding the beauty within yourself. And it gets down even to the true beauty within yourselves when we have those discussions. It's just, the base of it is the outer beauty leads to the inner beauty. What
Mhm.
I found is, for instance, there was one woman, and she really didn't need that much makeup at
Uh-huh.
all. But she didn't like herself. She had a birthmark on her face. She didn't like it.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of times when you see certain flaws, you can't see past those. You can't see the beautiful things, and you don't see examples of yourself.
Mhm.
So we got to, as an artist, I guess being able to have an eye for what is beautiful, or at least what's beautiful to me. I can
Mhm.
point out you have beautiful cheekbones. You have this, you have this, you have an exotic look. You got this going on. You got, the things that make you
Mhm.
beautiful. And
Mhm.
especially with women, it's when we see out in the world what quote unquote men think are beautiful,
Mhm.
and men men respond to us when we're confident. A lot of
Yes.
men don't even like women with makeup on. So
Mhm.
when we get down to what makes you beautiful, when they're playing makeup, they get comfortable enough not to have it.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's carving out cheekbone.
I can relate to that. I mean, I like, I think I realized that like it's more the day after wearing the makeup that I feel beautiful than actually with the makeup
It,
on. So, because
it's like that confidence that still lingers. Like, yeah, I got it.
yes, yes.
But we think too. That's been a thing too. I guess it's been more research. What's been happening?
Mhm.
research on how to do it better and dig deeper. So we've been dancing now for since the summer. Since the summer, sometime during the summer, we've been doing dance workshops with small groups,
Oh,
and it's been a mixture of fitness, but also again a mixture of embracing your curves and embracing whatever you got going on because we all have different figures.
yeah.
Um, but what I've noticed is just the confidence level that all of us have gained, even myself.
Well, I'd love to talk about this confidence point.
Hmm.
I'm going to do the station ID and can carry on with confidence. You are watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. And thank you so much for watching WJZZ Cool TV. Our guest is Colibri, the artist from Detroit, who is also a healer, and she has her company is Danah Arts, and we're talking about her work in building confidence right now in women. So yes, building confidence. So yes, tell me what this journey has been um, making you realize, or what you can share with us, or what you know.
Sure. So with Dan Arts, it's ART, alternative release therapy. So visual,
Alternative release therapy.
yes, yes. Visual is just one part of that. Really, the goal is to get you to release whatever's inside of you via creative expression. That's really what it is. It's creative expression.
Okay, I'd like to stress this point to the public because I know, as we did the visualizations with the phrases before, it's you haven't done it probably, but to release what is within you is something that will actually shift many things inside of you, and it could be the very thing that you are searching for. That thing that you're trying to obtain could actually arise from changing around the current situation, and art can do that in even one session. So don't push it away. Do try it. Yes. Go on.
Yes, no, I absolutely agree. In
Hmm.
fact, like it's a friendly way to dig deeper.
Hmm.
You know, we a lot of times we go to a therapist and you're afraid of what might come out. You're afraid to share certain things that you're aware of and afraid of what might come out that you're unaware of.
Right. And
And
with art, it's almost truer than with talking, because you're using maybe images, even if you don't have technique, or you're releasing emotions through movement. I don't know, but I mean, I personally would worry that if I was talking my problems out, that maybe I was trying to express something that was actually beyond words, and that I was putting words on it, and that they were crystallizing that way in my own mind, when
yes,
it's you're never really able to really describe with words what the real situation is, and then you go down this road based on your words because the other person really doesn't know you, but maybe they have, I don't know, I guess, what's it called,
they
neuro
have
thing. It's
understand.
a great thing. I know, I love it, especially for writing, or just, but I wouldn't, me personally, I wouldn't like to go deeper into it as a healing mode for myself. I prefer what you're talking about, and to release it into a more, you don't have to have another person there, I guess, listening to you. You can listen to yourself, or maybe we unconsciously have someone who is receiving it in our own subconscious, or maybe the creator. We don't know. And it's a big question and very interesting. Like, when I'm talking this, or when I'm painting this, or when I'm dancing this, am I doing, who am I talking to when I do this? And in a way, you can choose, and they don't even have to be standing there physically. And it's a huge it's I feel like it's a higher quality of life in itself.
Hmm. We and I'm glad that you touched on there are some things that words can't express.
Mhm,
Um, Even a word that technically can express it, it may not even be received properly. I could say that my day is catastrophic and it's
mhm,
still not properly expressed exactly how I feel.
mhm,
So with dancing or singing or painting, or we do journaling, but we do it another way, and it's not something that you have to share. But it's more of you getting something out of you as opposed to you telling it to somebody else, because nobody else has to see it.
mhm.
Nobody else has to know. Nobody else has to know you have the release. Part of
Right.
the reason I started doing it this way,
Mhm,
I would paint. I would do just paint parties, and they started off as just fun, people having fun.
mhm,
And I turn around and people would be crying, people would having these
uh-huh,
breakdown, and it was very, very consistent. So I thought there was something there. And
uh-huh,
then also, what I noticed with patients that have mental disabilities or children, like people that have autism, people that have dementia, people that don't necessarily have the words to express what's going on.
mhm.
Art is a very efficient way for them to communicate.
But, like, I use words a lot. I consider myself half writer, and I love words, and I think poetry is one of the highest forms of art. So even using words is there, but it takes a lot. I guess it does take a lot of work, and I think with words actually, even sometimes if you're in pain and you're writing it down on a paper, you don't really realize the significance of it as much as you would with a painting, where you're like, oh my god, how did that happen? How did that image arise? Or when you dance with words, you would have to put it away for like 1 year, and then read it again, and then you'll really respect it or love it. But I think a lot of people just throw their writing away in the moment because the pain is still there. I think with painting, it actually it's another form of release, and I think it would balance emotions. And writing is very different from painting. Painting is very different from movement or dance. And I guess depending on what is stuck, what's going on within the person, you could actually, if you had the interest to, you could find which one would really do justice and help you.
Well, we do a mixture of both, or well,
Mhm.
all of them, not both, but all. And the person usually, they find what they enjoy the most.
Mhm.
Um, what I noticed too with well, even with writing, because I do enjoy writing, but the problem is with writing, oftentimes we're trained to make it make sense. We're trained to tell a story so that whoever's reading it can understand it.
Mhm.
And if we're writing just jot out some words, really jot out whatever you feel, and it doesn't need to make sense. That's
Mhm.
hard for us to do because we're wired and programmed to write with communication. So we're wired to communicate. With painting or dance or whatever, you're kicking. It doesn't need to make sense. You just felt like a kick. You're screaming. You just needed to scream. I don't know why. I don't know what that means, but it got it out and it doesn't need to make sense. If
Right.
I'm painting, like we'll throw paint. You need to throw yellow, you need to throw red. It doesn't need to make sense. It's just something that needs to come out.
Right.
Afterwards, though, we usually are able to tell a story or another person visualizing it.
Mhm.
A lot of times we'll be able to connect. One of the pieces that I did after my little stint dating somebody, it wasn't a mean piece. It really wasn't. It wasn't a piece out of pain, but I'm often somebody who will deny my feelings or deny my emotions. So
Mhm.
I might be feeling some type of way and I'm like, oh no, it's not that. So this was somebody that I cared for and I didn't want to admit that I cared for or wanted to make it into something mean, basically. And it
Uh-huh.
wasn't that. So me painting it was an opportunity to paint the beauty of it.
Mhm.
And it actually was a piece that I didn't like. I'm looking across at it now.
Mhm.
I and still don't. It didn't make sense. The colors didn't make sense. They weren't something that I would traditionally paint if I were painting it to sell. But
Yeah.
when people come over, they're drawn to that piece. They're drawn to the energy and the feeling and the emotion that's come from that piece because it's genuine
Mhm.
and it's relatable. People can relate to being in love.
Mhm.
So
Yes. Um, maybe, 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 and maybe not. The writing with the left hand,
mhm.
or not with the left. If you're right-handed, writing with the left hand. If you're left-handed, writing with the right hand might be a better format for writing your feelings.
I like that as well.
Hmm.
I like
Um, Let me see now. Um, what about exhibitions? Do you have some exhibitions coming up? What has COVID done for you and your career now? Where do you think this is all going to?
Um, it's actually been well. What's happened is I've done a lot of things virtually,
Mm-hmm.
and with COVID, because things are virtual, I've been able to connect with people from other countries that I wouldn't have oh goodness, now I'm tongue tied,
Uh-huh.
ordinarily connected with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful for that. We
Other
had
like galleries or artists or summit.
artists, artists in both, well, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I co-host the Detroit Fine Arts Breakfast Club.
Uh-huh.
Um, also a part of United Artists of Detroit.
Yes.
I'm part of several arts groups.
Mm-hmm.
And what you see basically with people looking for art in Detroit, what they happen to see consistently is my face.
Uh-huh.
So,
What is it?
and hmm,
Could you
oh,
repeat that? You said when people are looking for art in Detroit, what they consistently see is your face.
yes,
In what sense are you mean
in
like?
the sense of hosting groups, hosting artist talks,
Yes, yes.
because that's been the norm. People are requesting that. So there was actually a big project that just happened. They came up with a calendar with world renowned artists,
Mm-hmm.
but they need to be able to advertise it. So of course they came to me, Calibri, can you do an artist talk with these artists? So what's happening is I'm hosting all different events.
Uh-huh.
Um, I become this person, and this was just, I guess, a duty. I would go out during the pandemic to different gallery openings because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people wouldn't come out during COVID. So
Yes.
because I host, well, it is the largest art group in the city, but they have worldly exposure now.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go out and take these pictures from all these different exhibits and make sure they had content, basically got a virtual version. So
Uh-huh.
what that did was connect me to other galleries. So
Mm-hmm.
now galleries come and say, Calibra, can you host it, or can you come, and can you? So
Mm-hmm.
I've been thrown into very accidentally,
Uh-huh.
but thrown into the art world. So people know me as I'm making a lot of connections with artists and gallerists and curators and collectors and just about anybody involved in art. They're starting
Mm-hmm.
to know Calibri.
It sounds very high energy and yeah, really, really, I don't know, luminous. That's really great. Hmm.
Yeah, it's fun. We wanted to help artists. So like I said, I would do the healing portion of it at the workshops for the people, but I really didn't take my artistry seriously. I would be helping people, and now I get to do both. So
Yeah.
what we're planning is for next year a string of different art shows,
Hmm.
starting again with Love Language at last February. So we're going to be doing that again this February.
Okay.
I love Language because we didn't expect to have as many artists as we did.
Hmm.
We had to turn people away, but we had people from Israel, we had people from Korea, we
Uh-huh.
had people just from all areas of the world
Hmm.
giving us artwork or their interpretation of love.
Oh my God. Uh-huh.
There were poems, there were songs, and we didn't limit it to visual art. So there
Where
were people that
is this so is this available somewhere for people to see, or can they buy it, or so, or is it just coming back in February where we
is
can,
coming back in February.
and where
So,
is it? Where will we find it? How will we know about it?
well, I don't know if we're going to do it at the same location that we did it in February, but we'll definitely still be doing it virtually.
Uh-huh.
What we did last year was both. So we had an on-site location, and then we also did a YouTube video, and we did a Zoom artist talk.
And what
That
is
was
the YouTube video called?
love language.
Right.
love language.
Mm-hmm.
We just critique it and just, now just moving and doing it better. We want to streamline it and make it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favorite part of that was the song. I've never been to an exhibit where we had original songs, where
Mm-hmm.
people came out, they wrote songs, they performed them, and they were beautiful. I was crying. I never cried so much curating artwork.
That is beautiful. Oh my God. Uh-huh. And so you're going to be doing this much more, I suppose.
Yes, yes. We don't want to overwhelm because there's a lot of work to be done for next year. But as far as art shows, I think
Mhm.
at least four. I don't think we'll do much more, but we want to do one every few months.
I have a question for you in a second. You are watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV. Colibri. So the love language exhibition, is it, do you think it's going to be like an annual event, and if it is, would it keep the theme of love language, or would you change the theme each year? Probably
It,
stay the same, right?
it's going to stay the same. So we're
That
working
is huge
several.
research. Wow, that is like you could find the essence of love. You could answer so many questions about
Exactly.
love if you did this every year for like a long time. You would
Exactly.
have so much information about love. You'd be, that would be amazing.
Yeah. The
Mm,
idea to give, because we have several different exhibits with several different themes. So the idea is to give artists a platform to really work on a message that they want to convey.
mhm,
And with love, I felt like universal language is such a powerful, and like you said, there's so many ways it could go. We
mhm,
had people that gave us passionate love. We gave people that gave us playful love,
mhm.
love between man and woman, love between mother and child. There were just so many different interpretations of love, and from so many different types of people.
Yeah.
It was powerful, and I it has to keep going. It's not even a matter of whether or not I want to. It has to keep going.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I keep flashing on the book that should go with the project. That would be a beautiful book.
You know what that would be very nice.
Yeah. I'll be in charge of the book if you want. I can.
You might,
I
because
would
it
love to.
wish you would have thought of it last year, because again, the artwork, and I guess there's no need to not do it, but
You
the
could then,
artwork is so powerful, and stories. I
and
had one
process
woman.
each artist.
Well, and we did an artist talk, and the art, just to make sure they had their opportunities to explain the work, because it makes all the difference for the artist to explain their feelings behind,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just appropriate. There was one woman who, she was from Korea,
Mm-hmm.
and her husband, and mind you, have people speaking in different languages, so we had to get interpreters.
Oh my God.
But her husband, but again, the feeling's still the same. Her
Mhm.
husband, it was their anniversary the day we had the, so she, and he had passed away. They had been married for 40 something years, and he had passed away, I think the year before. So
Mhm.
this was her first anniversary without him, and it gave her a reason to celebrate and paint their love.
Mhm.
And it was just, the painting was just so beautiful. It was so beautiful and sweet. Now you got me looking forward to to the exhibit. But yes, I wish more people, it was deserving of the book, the stories that people had.
How many artists were involved exactly?
I believe we limited to 50
Mhm. Mhm.
at a
And
cutoff.
are you going to take like open calls this year, or are you going to just work? Are you going to revamp the same exhibition with the same artists?
I think we'll still do an open call just to give people an opportunity.
Mhm.
Of course, we'll still notify the people that were part of it before,
Mhm.
but it's on basically structuring to see if we can handle larger, because it was pretty big last year.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
If we can handle a higher volume,
Mhm. If
might
you
be.
kept the same artworks from last year and then just added on more this year, then half of the work would already be done, and it would be twice the size. The exhibition would be twice the size, and then you could have it tour.
This is true. Virtually that works, but if there's a display in person, we're not able. Certain works are sold.
Yes.
Um,
We have 5 minutes left, and I'd like to. Is it? Do you have a special way for artists who are listening right now to apply or to get information for the open call, or what do you want them to do? Do you want them to be on standby on your website?
yes, I want them to be on standby. If they can follow us on Facebook on really get down and dirty talking art. That's the best
Yes.
way. That's how we reach our artists.
In case you didn't know, Colibri with her co-host Debbie LePrat have a show on WJZZ Cool TV, and it's called Get Down Talking Dirty Talking Art. Get Down Talking Dirty
Get
Talking
down talking art. So
Get Down
we get
Dirty
to
Talking
the nitty
Art.
gritty of art and what it is and being art, the unglamorous, unfantasized side of
Oh, yes.
art.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
but that's where we get the most engagement from our artists. So that's usually how we communicate. So I think that would be the platform that we advertise on.
Mhm. What
Will
day
be
is it?
art.
Wednesday. Wednesday.
Hmm.
It's on Wednesday.
Wednesdays, but on our Facebook page is where we'll put our alerts and advertisements and stuff like that. So we'll be sure to do the open call. It, right before the new year is when we start. It's a short open call,
Mhm.
and the love language exhibit is the weekend of Valentine's Day, so we do it that weekend.
Speaking of Valentine's Day, the heart, if I can't even know how to do the heart symbol. Do you
Mhm.
know that before they cupped it with Valentine, that this symbol had another meaning, and it much deeper meaning, and I'm sure the power of it is still there. But that heart symbol, really, the real definition is save life, to
I
save life.
didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Hmm.
Cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, I got commercialized by Saint Valentine.
Hmm.
But hey, we're exploring love, right? We'll figure it out. Maybe after all those exhibitions, your whole you'll get to that the core meaning of that symbol or something from the more ancient men and women.
Well, it can be part of it. It can be explored for the exhibition. I think it's appropriate.
Hmm. Yes. All right. And so do you do portraits for people? I see you have on your website something really beautiful also. People, I don't know, maybe you have to update your website because of COVID and all that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but you doing programs about people can paint their families, and you have this in the holiday section of your website, which is, I think, is a really powerful and beautiful gift and process. And like, this is like, to make that, to do that, and to give it as a gift, I think is precious. It's a beautiful thing. So can people sign up for this workshop with you?
Virtually. We're doing it, revamping everything virtually. But
Yeah.
yes, the idea is just a holiday party.
Hmm.
So you everybody needs a family portrait. So you're painting a portrait together, and the idea is hopefully it floats through your family.
Hmm.
But whoever books the workshop is who it goes to.
Okay. Yes. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay. It was a smooth pleasure, a lot of pleasure string experience speaking with you. And thank you so much for being here again. And we look forward to seeing everything that you do. Thank you. Thank you.
You. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching today. Have a beautiful evening.